The last video ended with him saying that if you traveled the distance of my entire shape, you would have been going, it would have been 5/5, and then you'd be on 1, right? Okay, so let's listen to the rest of his explanation.
You might say, wait, but 5 over 5, we've gotten to 1, and that's exactly right. If I were to shade in 5 things over here, let me do that a little bit cleaner. If I were to shade in 5, that's not the color I want to use. If I were to shade in 5 things over here, we've already seen that shading in 5 things, so if this is, let me make this a little bit neater. If this is now 5 over 5, or 5/5, we've already seen that this is a whole. And over here, if we've traveled 5/5 of the way towards 1, we've gotten to the whole 1. 5/5 is the exact same thing. 5/5 is the exact same thing as 1. It is equal to a whole.
All right, so he went on ahead and explained it. So if you have a shape and you color the whole shape in, then you end up with 5 out of 5 shaded. And if you've shaded in all the pieces, then the numerator and the denominator are the same. And when the numerator and the denominator are the same, you have reached one whole. I'm going to go ahead and write on this one. Since the video is over, I'm going to write on in between 1 and 2, and I'm going to do my best to make them as even as possible. This one should be a little bit closer that way, I think. All right, so on my number line, I can also label past one whole. Now I'm getting into the numbers that are in between, or the fractions that are in between 1 and 2. So, excuse me, what I do is I say there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces in between 1 and 2. If this is 5/5, the next one is called 6/5. The next one is, I'm going to have to go a little higher, 7/5. The next one is 8/5. The next one is 9/5. And then when you get to 2, it is also known as 10/5. Okay? Now what these are right here, this is how you write it when you are writing what is called a fraction greater than 1. It's going to be hard for me to write that. A fraction greater than 1. I can't write it. A fraction greater than 1. Or you could also, some people call it an improper fraction. There's still another way to write it. You could say that this is 1 whole and 1/5. It equals the same exact thing, but you're going past the 1 whole. There's your 1 whole. So you're going past 1 whole, and then you're going past it 1 space. So 1 and 1/5. Then you have 1 and 2/5. Make my 1 bigger because it has to be as big as the whole fraction. 1 and 3/5. 1 and 4/5. And then when you get to 2, it is also known as 1 and 5/5, because 5/5 equals another whole. So you have 1 whole and 5/5. We're going to keep working with fractions on a number line, but I wanted to give you a refresher first. So you have part 2 that you have to do on your iReady today for fractions on a number line. Thanks, guys. I hope this was helpful.